Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Masaki. Today's video has been probably a long time coming. Um, Something I've been thinking about for a long, long, long time, and I finally reached a conclusion and decision. So, yeah, um, I decided I'm gonna quit pretty much all free-to-play games forever. Coming to this decision wasn't easy. I think for a long time I thought that some games were not going to be as predatory. Some games were not going to be as vicious, predatory, cruel. But the reality of the world is that what I've seen in the past 7 years, 10 years, is that games of this genre, the free to play, has gotten more and more aggressive and more predatory, not less. And honestly, I just think at some point I didn't feel good about making content on this topic any longer. I don't want to promote and help games that could potentially hurt other people. I am one of those people who are lucky enough to not have an addictive personality in the sense that I'm going to spend a lot of money on a game. I think it's obviously, look, man, anything amount of money that people spend on a game, if you're an adult, it's your personal choice. I don't judge you for that, but personally, it's not something that I'm interested in doing. Yeah, I think at the core, my issue is this, man. Like, I don't enjoy these games anymore because I feel like they're all chores. You log in, you got to do your dailies, you got to grind for a minimal amount of gains. And this is true even if you're paying a ton of money. It's not like your game is just so much better and you don't have to grind at all. I've done a couple of these games already. I started with Clash of Clans. I think it's probably the first pretty major one of these. I did some content on that a long time ago. I don't even remember if it's on this channel. I played Clash. I played whatever Battle Royale, whatever Clash Royale. I played a little bit of Dice. I played. I played. Played King's Raid. I was pretty into that. In fact, I went to their office in Korea when I was visiting, and I just showed up, and they sent one of their developers, or I think he's actually a product manager, out, and he bought me coffee, and we sat for like maybe an hour or so. I kind of told him all the things I like about the game and things I don't like about the game, and it was kind of cool. It was just interesting to be there in person to see what a company that's making millions of dollars, billions of dollars, really probably looks like. It's kind of cool. And then play State of Survival, as many of you know. That's, you guys made me who I am today. I've almost 4,000 subscribers because of State of Survival. There's no doubt about it. You guys are great, very supportive. I love each and every one of you. You've done an amazing amount of support for me to continue to, make me want to do content for you guys and make new videos and such. And Diablo Immortal, even though I think this game is very predatory, I was a big Diablo 2 fan. That's pretty much where I started. I had a ton of fun. I mean, I was at my friend's house. We would not sleep and run, like, I don't know, kill Pindle, kill Bale, kill Mephisto runs. At some point, I remember I was even botting. Like, I think I had a sorceress that I was running some sort of Mephisto bot where basically the sorceress can like auto kill Mephisto on a loop. It was kind of cool when you wake up in the morning, you look at your stash, and you can see what you gained last night. It's just amazing, amazing thing to do. But that was the past. I mean, honestly, that was when I was a kid. That was when I was in middle school, high school. I had a lot of time, and hanging out with my friends, playing these kind of games was definitely something very enjoyable for me. But I think as I became an adult, as I now have a kid, I really just feel like time is much more valuable to me than back then. Back then, when I didn't understand what time really meant for me. Yeah. I think at the core, why I want to quit this game or any of these games is because they don't really value skill. In fact, the skill cap for Diablo is very low. Basically, you just have to be able to click a button, and by and large, you can play very well. And that's the way they intended the game to be, because they want players to be able to easily access the game. And as long as they have a working, thumbs, they can pretty much be very powerful. Because really, you're not competing on skill. You're mostly competing on wallet size. And that's the reality of these games now. I mean, this isn't specific about Diablo Immortal, but Diablo Immortal and maybe some of the other content I've been watching recently has really made me start really thinking about these things that, again, I've always thought about, but I haven't really put to action in a permanent sense. And let's face it, these systems are very predatory, right? So from the basic core things of like, you got to get your first spend in. I mean, look, if you guys haven't seen the GDC talk by what's his name, Torf Jorgensen, about how to convert whales, etc. I mean, it's worth a watch. I'll link in below. I want to make sure everyone understands that there's content out there. I mean, these games aren't built. They don't accidentally put a $9.99 pack in the game. These are very intentional, every single little bit. And every single time you think there are the systems are random, they're not random. They're built, even if they're random, they're built in such a way that makes it so that you would want to it maximizes your spend. That's just how it is. I think most of you guys probably know this, but maybe at some core level, you don't really want to recognize this. Again, I'm not making this video to tell anyone out there to, what to do. I'm just telling you what I've decided to do. Yeah. At the end of the day, there's a bunch of resources, but there's really just resources. The resources that really matter for a mobile game are going to be your time and your money. They want both of it, but they obviously want your money more. And everybody looks at money this way, which you think you trade time for money. Like that's called going to work. And then, of course, you go back into a mobile game or, you have a nice steak dinner. Then you're trading money potentially for time because you're saying something like, hey, I don't want to cook. I'm going to pay somebody else to cook so I can have a meal, right? The way that mobile game does this, though, unfortunately, is that they don't really value your time at all. I think the illusion is that free-to-play players can be as strong as paying players simply by spending a lot of time in the game. But the reality is that even if you max out time, you're spending 10 hours a day, 12, 15 hours a day grinding in Diablo Immortal, you will still lose to somebody who's even paying a medium amount of money. Not the top spenders, just a mediocre amount of spend. Because at this point, there are items in games that are just not accessible to you. And these items are things that will change the game, change how it works, change everything. So how big is that gap? It's big enough that no skill gap can close. That's what I've realized. I mean, there are a couple mistakes, I want to say, that developers didn't cover. For example, if you guys know, I got kind of famous because of my Ascertain Heist videos, guide on how to run that event within State of Survival, how to get rank 1 with basically a cheap account, right? That account was given to me by one of my alliance mates. It wasn't a free-to-play account, obviously, but the value of paying for a game diminishes over time, which means it's the best the moment you spend money. But as time goes on, that spend will be valued less and less as they release new characters, new, whatever, to basically make what you currently spent money on obsolete. That's what that account was. But despite that account being, let's call it a medium spender, I got rank 1 consistently, or high ranks consistently in that event. And I was able to do that because I had strategy. And so for the one event of the game, again, it's not everything. Most of the events, I cannot do this at all. But the one event of the game, I used a superior strategy to be able to beat other people. And I felt really proud about that. But I'm gonna be honest. From I haven't really tried it again, but from what I hear from other people, that event has changed, and they've basically made it so that the people who are paying more money should win, and that's how it should be, because if people like me who don't spend a lot of money can actually win in events just by being better players, then the spenders aren't going to want to spend. And so if you think about it, that to me is a big problem, because the system does not value my skill. It does not value who I am and what I'm able to do. The other part of this decision is I've really assessed my personality. Now, again, I'm not one of those people who play a mobile game and feel like obligated to spend. I remember one of the Clash of Clan players that there was an interview where he would spend $2,000 to $3,000 a month. It's funny, back then when I heard the interview, and I think in 2014, I thought, man, this guy's spending a lot of money per month. The funny thing is now, given numbers I'm seeing from Diablo Immortal, from State of Survival, I don't think $2,000 to $4,000 a month is a lot of money. Now, it's still pretty high, but it's not a lot of money, right? There are a lot of spenders, especially over at Asia, that are crazy. I mean, I was talking to one of my friends on Discord, and she was telling me the Asian players, they're just like dumping tons of money into this game. It makes sense because, again, it's very competitive. I think at the core, we humans all want to be competitive. We all want to win. And so what ends up happening is basically, you may feel like your life is not satisfactory because you're not winning in life. Whatever you're doing, maybe you're just a dude. You're one of millions of people on Earth doing some normal job that you hate, right? And your life sucks because, well, you have to go do this job. And because if you don't do that, you can't put food on the table. You can't raise a family. So you then turn to video games like Diablo Immortal, anything, it really doesn't matter. And if you can put some of that value that you've earned from a job into a game, then you could gain back some of that dignity, some of that respect from other players. And to be honest, I understand that. I fully understand why people want to spend money in games. I just think that I cannot do this anymore. Yeah. And here's the reality, something that I've always known, but I feel like it could be different is that free-to-play players, and even really just what we call dolphins, the small spenders, you're meant to be beaten up by the whales. That's the whole goal. In fact, if you look at like State of Survival, where the servers are minted, and then basically it's a full attrition game because a lot of the players will over time leave the server and no new players will come in, right? This is different for Diablo Immortal. Over time, you're going to have less and less players on a server. So they have to merge. And in fact, the fact that State of Survival has taken this long to put together a merge system is, in my opinion, ridiculously stupid, because they're going to lose their whales. Now, the argument could be they were trying to push the whales into a new server so that when they start a new server, they can start their spending again, and they have to buy through everything again to have that same high, right? But if they really want to push those whales onto a new server, all they have to do is just sunset all content, meaning if you want to see the new content, new tier heroes, you have to go to a new server. The old servers won't get that update. That's all they had to do, but they didn't do that. So it gives me the feeling that they really still want to maintain the old spenders. So I don't understand why they didn't merge servers sooner rather than later. Maybe because when they merge servers, they're just having a bunch of whales fight each other. So it's still not fun for the whales because there's all the free-to-play players have already gone, left the server. So I don't know. But again, I don't run companies like this. I don't really know how internally they work. I'm kind of commenting on these things. Yeah. So again, I think lastly, I just want to close it out with, I realized what I should and really did know for a long time. The reality is I'm not valued. So if I'm not valued, I don't need to be here. And that's what I've come to realize today. So yeah, again, it's like what I think I bought the battle pass, so I have a bunch of dailies I need to collect, this, that. I got to buy these crests every day to donate so I can gain some other, I have to basically have the highest amount of 5, 6, 7 different currencies to be able to stay competitive. It's a chore, man. It's a grind. And here's the thing. I go to work every day. Not YouTube. It's not my main job, right? I actually have, a job, real job, where I'm already doing things, and it's a grind. I don't want to have to go home and feel like I have to grind again for a game. A game should truly be just relaxing, something I can have fun, really enjoy. I want to play it because I want to play it. I don't want to play a game because I fear I'm missing out on something. That's a really, really, really bad thing. And again, that speaks to my own personality, because I'm the type of person who, while I don't feel compelled to spend a ton of money on a game, I do feel compelled to be a completionist, to achieve different things, to be able to figure out, as you've probably seen with a lot of my videos, abilities and ways to run something more efficient, do something faster. These are the things I do really care about. But unfortunately, even if I figure out all the little tricks and all the little secrets, it won't matter, because the game only cares about people who spend money. And here's the reality of all these free-to-play games. At the end of the day, the developers who are working on this game, the game is a live service. They're continuously developing new content. We can have arguments about what the value of that content is, but the reality is they're developing new content, which means these developers have to get paid as well. So if the core drive and their incentive is to earn more money from the players, well, the reality is players like me who don't want to spend, they're going to make our systems even more difficult. So I think, to put it in a way that I've heard many, many times, is games like this, free-to-play games, will create obstacles and then sell you a solution. And in my opinion, that is a big problem. And the fact that I have been stupid to realize this for so long, that's on me. I think as I've grown older, I realized that, when I was younger, I feel like I value money over time because, I didn't have a lot of money. So, and you had kind of infinite time because, you have futures and all that stuff. As I've gotten older, I started realizing that money is a very variable resource that can be gained at different speeds. Part of it is like if you have a better job, if you have better education, if you push yourself in certain fields, you can actually expedite the speed at which you earn money. Think about it like similarly like in a video game, in Diablo Immortal. Everyone knows if you farm Hell 5, you're going to gain resources, money, weapons, everything faster than if you do it in normal mode, right? Or Hell 1. So it's the same thing in real life. But what I've also realized now is time is actually limited. Sure, every day you wake up, you have 24 hours. You don't get any more, you don't get any less. It's not variable like money. But the reality is every moment that you spend is the last of that moment. You'll never be 24 years old again. You'll never be 30. You'll never be 28. You'll never be 21 again. So every moment that you decide you want to do something else, you're sacrificing everything else that you could be doing in that moment. So I've decided that it's not worth my time. If I'm not valued, it's not worth me spending my valuable time to make it anything. So with that, deuces, I'm out.